folks. So it's a 3-day holiday. Monday, banks are closed. Just happens. So I'm sitting there just relaxing a little bit, here and there, trying to get the energy up to work on the honey-do list. And I get a call, and it's my source. And he says, all right, get your computer. I said, what you got? He said, well, and I could hear something in the background. He's at a live auction. And he said, I got this. Before you go check out the email I just had sent to you, you interested in buying my farm? I said, your farm? He said, well, I'm going to buy it, but we could buy it together. And it's 2 parcels, and he's describing this place. And I put him on speaker. My wife's listening. And he's describing this farm with goats and chickens and hogs and horses and donkeys. And I hear the noise in the background. They're bidding off tractors, trailers, and all kinds of farm equipment. My wife said, you are not buying a farm in South Carolina. And so I said, all right. So I said, no, we'll pass on that. So I get on the email and I look at it, and it was a small pool. No, I'm sorry, that didn't happen. This is Sunday, this is Monday. So he says, you need to check your email, and it's a smaller pool, it's less money than the other properties, about half. He said, but if you want it, you can. I said, I'll take it. He said, don't you want to open your email and look? I said, no, sir, if I got enough money, I want it, I'll take it. If you say buy it, he said, buy it. So I said, done. So I bought my first pool blind, didn't look it up, didn't see any values, didn't look them up on Zillow, Trulia, Realty.com, none of those things. I didn't make any calls, I just bought it down and dirty. Now when I was done, I got to thinking about this and I thought, man, what have I done? I just took out a $50,000 HELOC. I just bought a pool of properties. I don't even know what state they're in, let alone what kind of condition they're in or what their values are. In fact, I don't even know what I paid for the properties. But I made that commitment verbally, and Tuesday came around and I wired the money. I waited for a contract to come back. I went down and did the contract and scanned it, sent it back to him, and my wife said, what have you done? And then I waited for my deeds. And I waited for, then I'm thinking, what am I going to do with it? I ended up with a property in Detroit. I had one in Cleveland, Ohio. I had one in Bisbee, Arizona. I had one in Mississippi. They were everywhere. They were scattered all across the country. I thought, what am I going to do? So we took a little family vacation. And my wife and I, we loaded up the car, hooked up a computer and a charger and a little Wi-Fi, and I had some paper and a printer and some signs and some tools, and I went to each of my houses, secured them, put lock boxes on them, changed out the locks. I put my own sign up, my banded signs out. And you know what I found? As I would approach the front door to the house and put my sign up at the ground, people were rushing to me saying, who are you and what do you know about this property? I've been trying to buy this thing, I've been trying to get hold of this bank, and I've been talking to this auction house, and no one ever knows what to do. Nobody has a clue. Nobody can tell me anything. I want it. And I'm saying, well, guess what? This is your lucky day. Santa has arrived. And I'll never forget my first deal at the trunk of my car in front of a house in the hood in Detroit where nobody wants to buy. I sold a house to one of the most precious ladies you'll ever meet in your life, who to this day is performing on her contract. And I basically charged her $0 down. I charged her $350 a month for 30 years at 10% interest. Now, don't ask me what I bought the house for, because it kind of makes me feel bad now. Until I get those calls or those emails from her from time to time to tell me, thank you for investing in me when nobody else would. And thank you for allowing me to own my own home, first ever, and it'll be the last one I probably will ever own. But thank you. It's in the neighborhood she needed to be in. It's where she could get to work. She was a grandmother. She was raising grandchildren by herself, and it was affordable. She could live there for less than she could rent for. And with just a little TLC, a little bit of paint, and a little bit of freshening up and some cleaning up of the yard, she has 30 to 40% equity in her home to this day. Now that's something that a lot of us don't have in our homes. So, didn't have a program, then, didn't have a strategy then. It was just kind of what we heard this morning about finding those deals and going out and doing something with them. But I basically found out that I could move these houses if I would just be the bank. If I would take the time to help someone else own this property by leveraging that for them, I didn't need to sit on any properties anywhere. Now I had some cash deals. I figured, you know what, just make me an offer. I mean, I didn't even know what the value is. I'm standing in front of my houses, still didn't know what the value was on my own homes. But I figured out. My wife said, honey, don't be greedy. If someone offers you twice what you paid for it, sell it to them for cash. If they'll pay you 4 times what you paid for it on terms, sell it. And we joke about it now, but this came from an internal battle that the first week we own a house, we want you to have a 650 score so we can work with your credit. We want you to have a 5% down deposit, and we want you to be able to afford the payment. We want to sell you that house on payments that we know you can truly, not hopefully, but truly afford and have enough money left over to do whatever else you need to do in life. Second week, forget the credit score. Just have a down payment and afford the monthly. The third week, forget the down payment. We want you in this house as long as you can afford it. And that's really our motto. Because it doesn't make you money or me money if it's sitting empty. And the longer it sits empty, the worse the condition and the more chances of it being molested and vandalized, right? So that's our program. And it just kind of came out of a grassroots approach. I'd call up the guy who sold me the homes, and I said, what do you do with your houses when they're all over the country? And he told me, I throw a sign up, everybody moves in, we don't turn anybody away, credit's not the issue. If you got a job or you got a way of paying the payment, you can prove it, we're going to put you in the house. As it is. So the same way I bought it, I sold it. I bought it with back taxes owed in some cases. I had liens on some of these properties in most cases, maybe small liens, maybe they were just because the lawn was not mowed, or because there was a water left on by the bank, and now the city of Cleveland taxed that, so there's all kinds of things that can happen. But the same way I bought it from the bank, I sold it to my clients, and then I worked with them to make sure that they were held accountable, to make sure that they took care of the issues. And first and foremost, nobody moved into a house that they couldn't handle the issues that we discovered around and surrounding that house. And that really is what was the beginning to what we have today. We have like I said, a faith-based wealth building organization, a family of companies that, number one, acquires these properties in the same manner I acquired them. Number two, we have Buy Here, Pay Here Homes that markets and resells those properties for our clients that buy homes from us at great discounts. And then finally, we have a servicing company now that services the notes and the paper that we create when we own or finance, if it's not a cash deal. So about 30% of the houses we service for our clients now are sold for cash. The rest are for what we call term contracts, land contracts, contract for deeds, depending on what state you're in. In some rare cases where it's really a house that we really feel like would do well in the traditional market, we may represent our clients on a lease contract and even create a mortgage. So we're able to do all of that turnkey for our investors and for you. So that's what we bring to the table today. It's been 10 years. We have somewhere around 300 full-time clients in our that are utilizing our services today. We first and foremost now are our primary customer. I buy for myself. I buy for our company of our owners, and we feel like if it works for us, it's going to work for you. If it stops working for us, we're going to tweak it, change it, or we're going to stop offering it to you. So when I met Roger and partnered with Roger, we just relied on word of mouth and just our own clients, most of them large institutional buyers, hedge funds, large PPMs, and that kind of thing. But when I met Roger really encouraged me that, Kent, this is something that really needs to be offered to people who, like yourselves, are ready to do something, ready to grow, ready to work in your own environments, your own markets. And so with some prodding, with some arm twisting, He's got us to get off my front porch with my, I like a nice cigar. I live in Ybor City, the old Tampa cigar district. I've kind of retired and I was just enjoying life and work on my laptop, work with the banks and lenders, auction houses, servicers, and just enjoying life. So he's kind of got me out of a comatose state of retirement. It wasn't really retirement because we've been making more money than, it's almost shameful how much money we've made in the last couple of years. But we do it helping people. And that's been our focus, is the person who last ends up with that home should have the greatest advantage and benefits. And that's our commitment. So if it works for us, and we can flip thousands of properties every month for a few $100s, and we can sell them to you for a very small markup and market those and sell those for you, and you make a great profit in return, and then the person we're selling it to live in that home has equity at the end of the day, I think that's a good thing. And we are having an awesome time doing this nationwide. Someone asked about last month, how many homes have you bought, or how far apart are they? Well, last month we bought one in San Juan, island of San Juan, who, yes, they claim, even though not officially, we still buy and sell in San Juan, but we also bought in Honolulu, and we also bought in Anchorage, and we also bought down in Agua Prieta, off the Mexican border. So we have literally, not just coast to coast, but we've been buying houses from island to island. It's been pretty cool. So that's kind of how this happened. I kind of fell off the truck and landed on my feet, and I've been doing it ever since. My mentor is an awesome guy. He's still going strong, still doing well, but he doesn't deal with the public. He just deals with people like me. So I'm one of about a half dozen people now that he just gets on the phone, no technology involved with him. I've never had a contract between he and I ever, not in 10 years, never. But when I say I'll take it, I better deliver. And the way we built a strong reputation is between the 6 of us that fund whatever he can get awarded, or we do on our own, by the way, because he's turned me, he's introduced me and mentored me, so I don't necessarily need him in that regard. But there's a loyalty there that, hey, a guy that spent 40 years just loving on bankers and says, look, I'll put you in business for yourself when you're ready, if you need it, and no strings attached, but when something good comes along, remember me. And that's kind of how it is. So the majority of my time is spent, and this is why the beard, is most of our clients, our bankers, love to ride, or they love to golf, or they love to boat, or they love to do things that they can't afford to do. So guess what? We can't buy the royalties, but we can sure show them a good time. So I'm good at that. Hospitality is my thing as a pastor of years. I mean, I just get to just love on these guys and their families, because a lot of them don't take care of their families in the way that they would like to, because they just run from lender to lender. And so when they get beat up enough, we're there to love on them. So a lot of them like to ride bikes. A lot of the auctioneers love to ride bikes. So we've got a bunch of Harleys, and we meet them, and they get off the plane, and we just dote on them and love on them and give them a good time. And who are they going to remember when they get a great deal? And who's going to benefit from that if we benefit from it? Everyone in our group of buyers. So we buy from probably over 200 sources right now. You name them. You name the bank, we buy from them. If you name an auction company, I guarantee you, I know everybody in that auction company that is somebody, and guess what? They give us awesome opportunities. And so this is a good time for us. I don't know how long, Rogers and I, we've contemplated how long do we have this window, how long will it be like it is? Because it's not just the low end, it's the high end stuff now. I'm seeing a lot of change. I am seeing signs of we don't have forever until there will be some sort of recovery, but I think we've got a couple of years. 2 years ago, I brought on a financial partner, and I was just when I got him started as a client, he said, I don't want to waste any money, I don't have money to lose, but he had been a salesman, and he was tired of traveling, tired of what he was having to put up with the company, but he had saved and put, I want to say it was about $70,000 in self-directed IRA Roths. He's given me permission to share this. This is a result of his first 2 years with me. There's 40 properties here, just in his IRA. Now, he didn't spend $70,000 with me. I think he tested the waters like 20 here. I think the second deal was 27,000 that I actually JV'd with him. And I think there's something like 400, and I don't have my glass. What's the price at the bottom? Mm-hmm. That's his, that's.
The net annual payment is what? Is that 100? Oh, yeah, 136,099. That's great.
Yeah, can you look over here? All right, that's just his IRA. All right? This guy was highly skeptical. He came to me after his second pool and flew into Tampa from Starkville, Mississippi. A real conservative boy, good old Southern Baptist boy. So he came in to tell me that he was going to just watch his portfolio for a year or two and wasn't going to buy any more properties. I said, all right, but you promised me, Chuck, before you did that, you would give me some idea of what your investment has made you. And you haven't given me that yet. He said, tell you what, I've been working on that. Tax time's coming up. I'll finish that in my hotel room tonight before I leave, and I'll email it to you. I said, all right, have a safe trip home. The next